Welcome to another edition of Wildcat News. This is our first B-Block edition. To get us started, our first piece covers why the bathrooms in the school have been closed for the past few months. Knowledge of the bathroom closures varies from student to student.
It's because of vaping and vandalism.
I don't.
Vaping.
Students may not understand, but administration has their reasons.
So we closed the bathrooms down, two of them, for a few different reasons. One was vandalism. We were having problems with people vandalizing the bathrooms. Other is vaping. Obviously, we've had a lot of issues with that in the bathrooms as well.
With students in mind, they kept one bathroom on each side open.
We don't have enough staff to monitor the bathrooms all the time, so this is kind of a trial run for us to close a couple down and see if we can monitor them better. But we made sure to have at least one still open on each side, so one on the green side, one on the orange side, still have the phys ed in the nurse's office.
Some students feel strongly about the bathroom closures.
It's frustrating because you have to use the bathroom and you have to walk all the way around the school, or you have to wait 10 minutes in a line. And we don't come here to stand in a line for 10 minutes. We come here to learn.
I feel kind of mad because I have to go halfway across the school to use the bathroom for no reason, so.
I think it's the stupidest thing ever, and they should not have done it.
Others believe that students' anger is directed at the wrong people.
I'm a big proponent of if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
I think it's very unfortunate that the bathrooms have to be closed down, and I do think it's unfair to the kids who just want to go in and use the bathroom, and that aren't doing anything wrong. But I think where you need to be looking is at the kids who are doing something wrong.
We should really just respect the property and treat the school well, because they treat us well.
Administration lets us know how to earn bathroom privileges back.
The number one issue or change I think students can make is not to congregate in the bathroom. So it's not a hangout spot. So if you're going to be using the bathroom, you just go one at a time, go in, use the bathroom, and leave.
Thanks for the advice, Mr. Frost. Hopefully the bathrooms can reopen soon. On a happier note, it's a special time of year for juniors. Let's go to Casey for more on prom night.
Thanks, Kendall. Hopefully students will treat the bathrooms with respect from now on. Prom season is right around the corner. Let's see what some of the juniors and prom planners think about this. Mr. Finley, along with the junior class officers, have all been working hard to plan prom.
Me and the other class officers work almost every day in Power Block to plan prom, and yeah, we put a lot of thought into it.
Police details, DJs, photo booth, flowers, venue, menu, and there's a lot more.
Everyone is now involved in the planning, and everyone has a say in what goes on, so it's also they're a part of their own special night.
The cost of prom has been talked about a lot lately, and it's a bit controversial.
I think it's a lot of money just for one dance, the ticket and then the tux.
I think it is worth it because of how much memories you're gonna make then.
The tux, that's definitely a lot.
I think it's a little overpriced because it's only one night, but then I also understand that it's expensive for them to pay for.
I get why the dues plus the prom ticket costs a lot of money.
Prom is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and there are many different feelings that go along with it.
I'm definitely excited for prom. I'm not super nervous, maybe just for the grand march in front of everybody.
I'm pretty excited because I think it'll be fun.
Once all the planning is done, I'm not going to be as nervous anymore. I'm just mainly going to be excited. But right now, with all the planning that has to go into it, it's more nerve-wracking.
I'm excited because it's something I've been waiting for since I've been in high school. It's something every high schooler looks forward to.
Promposals are always exciting, but is getting a date to prom a good idea?
A little awkward, I think, in front of everybody when it's a huge, promposal, so.
Gives you an opportunity to, enjoy the night with someone else.
Getting a date to prom too early can be very messy, and then you might regret it, or they might regret it.
You'll end up finding a date eventually.
With the mask mandate being lifted, this year's prom will be the first school dance without masks in 2 years.
I feel when you wear a mask, you can feel more restricted, but now that you don't have to wear one, it'll be fine.
It would be terrible if we had to wear masks there. Hides the faces, can't see everyone's beauty.
It would be kind of hot with all the people in there dancing.
I feel it would make it not as fun.
This event being one of the biggest since COVID, there's a lot that goes into it. I'm excited to see everyone dressed up and having a good time. Now on to Gabe with more information about the Ukraine crisis.
Thanks, Casey. I'm sure Grand March and prom will be a blast. Onto a more global issue, the war between Russia and Ukraine that started on February 24th of this year.
and has increasingly become more vast throughout the country as Russia's troops still spread throughout the country. Mr. Ennis, a U.S. history teacher in WB, shares his knowledge on why the Russians decided to invade Ukraine and explain why they're doing it.
Obviously, it's a huge event in our world right now, and it's clearly done for no other reason than that Russia wants to gain that land and try to take that back. And the people of the Ukraine have been kind of attacked in this unnecessary, unneeded way.
With many students from Ukraine in pursuit of a high education, the war changes their ability to learn, where bombings and threats proceed to increase.
Not knowing any students in Ukraine, but knowing what's going on, it's disrupted all life there. There's been almost 2 million people that have fled the Ukraine. There are, significant bombings in the capital as well. So I would think all their lives are turned upside down. I can't imagine anyone's doing any learning, and there's obviously a high civilian death toll that's happening now too. So it's having I would assume, a very severe impact on everybody, including students and children.
With the war raging on, a Ukrainian British college student, Valentina Batenko, living in Ukraine during the war, talks about the impact it had on her life.
Well, from the very beginning, I remember I was in Kiev when the war started, and I essentially woke up because I heard the explosion in my house, and my house was shaking, and you kind of have this initial shock and fear and confusion. It's really hard to kind of explain, but when something like war happens, it's so psychologically hard to grasp. It's almost quite a surreal sense and just a plain sense of shock.
With phone lines going out and many going without power, and contact with their families must be drastically decreased, causing many to worry if their families are okay.
Generally, talking to people who aren't in Ukraine, who didn't have this experience, it can be quite difficult. I understand now when I'm talking to people that they live in a very different reality from me, right? Like, I wake up every morning and to air sirens, and when you're basically lying in bed at night, half my time is spent in bomb shelters or basements, and it's like the type of existence you experience is like you really you don't think about it all the time, but you really don't know if you're going to have a missile launched near your house, something like that, on a day. And for me, talking to my mom in the UK and my family in the UK, that was very difficult, because people can translate sympathy to you, and people can be empathetic and kind, and they have been, but the psychological reality, the understanding, is completely different.
The constant bombings throughout the days have caused a big impact on the pursuit of education for some students.
For me personally, the moment it started, I kind of suspended my education. At least I stopped going to classes actively or participating in any of that, because again, suddenly in my world, going to university and lectures became so irrelevant compared to, this is actually the survival of my country and my family, and I need to get my family to a safe place so we don't get bombed. That split makes doing anything that is your basic daily life, like going to school, going to lectures, talking to people, very difficult to do.
Now onto a more school-related event. Spring sports. With the weather getting warmer and the spring sports getting into play, we'll go on to Reese Bunker with more on spring sports.
Thank you, Gabe. I'm hopeful for the war to come to an end, and I'm praying for Ukraine. March is a busy time for student athletes and coaches. Sports like tennis, track and field, softball, and baseball are starting up. Excitement isn't only for players, but spectators as well. Many Wildcat fans are excited to watch our athletes thrive in their sport.
I'm probably most excited to watch tennis. A few of my friends are doing tennis this year.
Tennis. Definitely tennis.
Baseball, because a lot of my friends play.
Tennis and softball. Many players are excited to get back into their sport this March.
Working with the guys, it's a great group of tennis players, and we have a lot of fun.
We have a new coach because Graw's retired, so I feel like that will be exciting to have like a new team, new coach.
We're getting to know the rules and getting better at playing.
Play some tennis with some friends and have a good time.
We're making friendships and meeting all the girls.
Starting new with a bunch of new kids. We have a bunch of new middle schoolers trying out.
Fresh start, new kids, new athletes, and it's fun to see where we can go from there.
Create bond teammates.
To make new friends like in the sport.
Just be out there with my friends, run around, have a good time.
Athletes and coaches new or experienced their sports have many concerns regarding this upcoming season.
I'm definitely nervous for doing bad in the matches and just trying something new. For the sun being in my eyes and I can't hit my serve over the net.
On a kid's trying out because I haven't played in so long.
Still, I'm new, I'm still learning, and so just continuing to learn with the kids playing.
Not making the team.
The track meet, since I've never done track before.
About the meets and just like having to perform.
Weather is a huge factor when it comes to spring sports, as well as something that coaches are concerned about.
I do not like March very much at all. I'm worried about snow.
Not have too many interruptions with snow or anything like that.
I'm hoping that we have not a lot of rain and a lot of sunshine.
When comparing season versus season, there are many differences as well as room for improvement.
I think we're back to having a close to normal season finally after a year of spring being canceled and then having an abbreviated season with all the COVID restrictions.
We'll have more games with COVID and we'll have more opportunities to show what we have.
We just had a good number of seniors this year. We don't have as many. So it's going to be like watching the younger kids really come out and just bring some energy.
COVID was a big factor, and I don't think it would be that big of a factor this year.
Last year we were shorter because of COVID, but this year we have a full season, which will be nice.
Players and coaches have high expectations and are optimistic for the season.
I expect my team to destroy the opposition and to have fun doing it.
It's nice that it's individual. Kids can work on their own individual goals. I really like that.
Run my fastest and try and set records and personal records and beat them throughout the season.
I want it to be fun. I want it to be relaxed and if they make a mistake, let's learn from it.
My goal is just everyone make some sort of improvement, no matter what improvement they make.
Thank you all, and hope you have a successful spring season. Now, on to Kevin to hear about Food Club. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
Thanks, Reese. Inside the WB Middle Senior High School, there's a lot of diversity between the clubs, and just recently, a new food club has opened up.
That's right, there's an all-new food club. Let's find out how it started.
So we were just chilling around in A-Log, and we slowly started bringing in food. We started realizing that we like food, so we're like, Mr. Finley, we should make a food club.
To get to know the basics about the food club, I needed to know what the members do in the food club.
We meet once a week, so every time we meet, there'll be one meeting where we decide the recipe, who's going to bring in what, and then we decide what drinks, what we're going to do, what we need for it. And then the next week, the meeting will be actually making the recipe.
We all get together, and we sign up to bring different items like pans, pots, salt, flour, and that kind of stuff, and then we all cook it together.
We really just make food that we haven't tried before, so our first project is dumplings right now, but we've made cookies and stuff already.
Now that we know a little bit more about the food club, I wanted to know how they work as a team in the club.
We have cutting stations, we have people preparing the meat, we have people doing the dough.
There's multiple steps, so one person can be mincing some meat, or another person can be washing the vegetables.
We bought Mr. Finley a $100 air fryer. It's pretty nice.
Now that we have spoken to some of the members, let's talk to some students and teachers to find out if they have heard about this new club.
I just recently heard rumors of a food club. Some students mentioned it. You mentioned it.
I have never personally heard about the food club. Sounds pretty interesting.
Yes, Kevin Small showed me about it and talked about it. It sounds fun.
It turns out some people have heard rumors about the food club, but now I want to know what they think about it.
Now that I know a little more about food club, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds like what's really going on is that there's a big teamwork environment, cooperation, working with each other, and that's actually really cool.
I think the idea is very interesting. I think it could open up some opportunities and possibilities. It would just probably also just help with making things more enjoyable.
I think it's nice. It's just one of those things where food has so many levels. So it's just one of those things that's fun to get a different experience of all the different foods.
Now that we have talked to some people, let's find out what the members want to get out of the food club.
Within the club, I hope to improve on my cooking skills as well as bond with the other members.
I hope for it to continue on and become an official club, since it takes every 3 years for a club to actually become official.
It seems like all the students are very passionate about this new club, and it is nice to see a new club open up so many different opportunities for new students. Well, that about wraps it up for this B-Block episode of Wildcat News. Have a great day, everybody.